Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Respected viewers, colleagues and the students of class 9, I welcome you once again within this online lecture series. Respected students, let me recapitulate you people what we were discussing about. We are talking about the chapter number 3 of your component political science, electoral politics, and the subtopics that which I last time tried to cover up, which were the concept of electoral politics, how these elections are compulsory and the indispensable part of this democracy. Later on, the next subtopic which I try to discuss, the election system of within the India, the different steps that election commission of India takes place at the moment the elections are supposed to be conducted. In that very case, I was discussing the electoral constituencies. First of all, how they are important to demarcation for a particular state or a particular constituency. Later on, I did talk about the reserved constituencies, how the constitutionally and every country, every state is given the constitutionally the reserved seats for those people who remain unrepresented and who remain unnoticed and unidentified, particularly when we talk about the social scheduled tribes and we talk about the scheduled castes. Later on, dear students, we discussed the voter lists and this how these voter lists are framed and how the voter lists and how this voters' identity cards were established within the country that's known as India. And last thing that I was discussing with you people, that was this nomination form, that how these nominations forms are fulfilled by the particular candidate when he or she is going to take part in the electoral politics or within the election fray. So this is the 5 or 6 steps which we must take into the consideration the moment we are going to talk about this universal electoral franchise, or we talk about this universal suffrage, or to exercise the political right, what that's called the right to vote in a particular country. That's too and democratic in nature. Okay, now dear students, the subtopic that I have chosen for you people today, that's the election campaign. Dear students, that's the election campaign. Election campaign means the next step was the after this voters list is finalized, it's framed. Now let's move another step, that's the election campaign in the election system of the India. Dear students, but first of all, every political party or every candidate, what he is doing, that they publish their road maps, what we simply call the election manifesto. We call it election manifesto. It's known as election manifesto. Election manifesto. Dear students, what election manifesto is all about? It's like a roadmap in which the ideology of a particular political party is framed. It's discussed in a threadbare discussion there. The things are discussed there length into breadth within this election manifesto. Every voter is supposed, the voter of every country, or the voter, whether he's a male or a female, he's supposed to go through this line to line by this election manifesto, and he has, according to this election manifesto, he can choose his particular political party for which he or she is going to cast his or her vote. So now after that, the election campaign is started by every political party. If we talk about my country, the main purpose of this election system is, election campaigning is to give people a chance to choose the representatives, the government and the policies they prefer. Means they should not go and cast votes within a haphazard manner without knowing the essence and the basic nitty-gritty of these casting votes, the value of their votes, because their one vote can make a hue of difference. It can make a huge difference rather. So they go for every political party, every candidate starts his election campaigning. In India, it starts almost, therefore it is necessary to have a free and fair open discussion. And if you talk about in India, this campaign starts 2 weeks period between the announcement of the final list of the candidates and the date of the polling. So before 15 days, election campaigning starts within my country, and every political party or a candidate, it goes to have a discussion with its political party members, the party tycoons, and they go to the voters. They try to convince them. They put forth their everything on the table. They try to compete to impress them, to show them the rosy pictures, to show them to discuss unveil their promises, policies, decisions, what they are going to do within a coming year. If they are going to cast a vote in my favor, what we can do for your benefit, how my policy, how my roadmap is entirely different than the other people who are within the election fray. They just try to convince them, they just try to make them understand that my manifesto is absolutely different than the rest of the people. So it's the way that they try to convince the people by going their doorsteps. They use they very beautifully take the use of this media as well. Social media is involved within it, and electronic media, the mass media is involved within it. The newspapers, televisions, radios are announced. The slogans are framed. They publish these slogans on the banners, on the placards as well. They are published like we are on the screen here. The loads is published by this BJP, and the placard, or we can say the holdings, are framed. They are put forth among the four ways, like we are having this election campaign, recent election campaign of this Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The holdings are published there to divert the attention of the people towards the same things. So this campaigning is very necessary element of the election campaigning, is very necessary element for the electoral politics of a particular country when they are going to conduct the elections smoothly, free and fairly, where the voters is given an open choice to read the things and then to cast their vote according to his own will and wish. Dear students, let's have a quick look towards the history, and let's try to find out the great slogans which try to appeal to the people from time and again. Time and again, those very slogans which has carried the history among the annals of the page of the electoral politics in the country. Those very promises, those very slogans which got a great phenomenal fame among the books. Let's try to how this election campaign is started. The election campaign is taking the rescue among these slogans, and how these slogans help. Slogans help the people to choose that particular country, to cast his or her vote for the apt candidates. So dear students, let's have a look at the screen. There's one picture of the great personality of the India Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. So it's the time of 1971. 1971, the Congress party led by the Indira Gandhi gave the slogan "Garibi Hatao," means remove poverty. So this is the picture of that very time in which the slogan was given by this great lady, "Garibi Hatao," means when she thought that India is caught, it is engulfed by the this callous wave. That's the poverty. It's more dangerous in the country than any other dangerous pandemic. That's the poverty. What we can witness among these days as well. If we talk about the COVID-19, the highest dreaded pandemic within the country, but having the very least mortality rate, that's only 3 to 4%. But if on the other side of the coin, if you look at this, the poverty, the ratio of the poor people who die because of the hunger every day, so that's more than 10%. So dear students, the same lady did gave a slogan of that very particular moment. That's Garibi Hatao. Let's say goodbye. Let's say adieu to the poverty. Remove poverty. This appealed slogan, this catchy slogan given by this Indira Gandhi during his election campaign in 1971. The party promised to reorient all those policies of the government to remove poverty from the country. So they tried reorientation. They thought of the orientation of all those policies, the schemes to boost agricultural lines, to uplift the conditions of the farmer of my nation, to say goodbye to the famines, to provide the best irrigation facility to the country, to boost the agriculture system, to boost the service sector, transportation sector. So this is the time when in 1971, the first time in the country the appealing slogan came in the history, and the election campaign got a new look. That's the Garibi Hatao slogan. So dear students, it's one of the most popular slogan we have ever witnessed in history. That's Garibi Hatao. That's given by the lady in 1971, namely Indira Gandhi. Though if we are moving next, let's go forward. The next thing is that if we talk about this, the next was the Save Democracy. It is the slogan that is given to us by the Janata Party, Save Democracy, in the 1977. So dear students, it is the slogan that was given in 1977 by the Janata Party under the leadership of the great personality Jayaprakash Narayan. So this man, Jayaprakash Narayan, gave the slogan in 1977, let's try to safeguard the democracy. It means that, dear students, they promise it to undo emergency and restore the civil liberties. Excellent. When you talk about the undo, to undo all those excesses you committed during emergencies, all those problems which were created under this emergency that was imposed in the state of India, the imposition of emergency created the havoc It skews the economy of the country. So the new Janata Party came into existence in 1977 that gave the different slogan, and they tried to draw the attention of the common mass of the India, all the voters of the India, towards their scale, that they have to cast vote for us, and we are going to restore the democracy. We are going to restore the civil liberties. We are going to talk about your rights and duties. So the moment they talk about the democracy, it means that we are going to take care of, we are the guardian of your rights. We are the custodian of your rights. We are taking care of your rights. So just cast vote for us, people. We are going to say adieu. We are going to bid goodbye to this emergency power imposed by this Indira Gandhi tenure. Now the third slogan that was very much significant among the history from last certain decades, that was the land to tiller in the West Bengal Assembly elections. That is, dear students, the land to tiller means that is given to those who are going to till it, who are going to cultivate this land. The slogan was given in 1977, the same election campaigned by the Third Front. Then let's give this land to the tiller. Means in the assembly election of the West Bengal, the Third Front came with this new slogan. They tried to convince the people that we are giving the land to the tiller. It means that if we are cultivating the land, the person who is within the land, who is farming the land will be given to the tiller. In 1977, we are going to restore certain provisions and the measures in which this small scale tiller will get absolute benefit. So this land to the tiller was also the appealing idea of this Third Front. The next was, if you talk about the next one, that is this protect the self-respect for the Telugus. So this was under the Telugu, the Andhra Pradesh, this slogan was also given in 1983, that respect to this Telugu party as well. So these were the certain case slogans which the party has been given from time and again to allure the people within the country. Now, dear students, these were all the slogans, whether we talk about the remove poverty, whether we talk about the save to democracy, or we talk about the land to the tiller, or we talk about the respect or the protect the self-respect of the Telugus, which was last started by the slogan led by this T.M. Rama Rao, the founder of this Telugu Dasan party in the Andhra Pradesh in 1983. But besides these, prior to these things, besides these 5-6 slogans which are the compulsory part of the election campaigning, that these slogans every time try to catch the attention of the people, every voter, whether he or she is after the brief analysis of their manifestos, then they are going to cast the vote in the favor of their favorite leaders. But in a democracy, it's best to have to leave the political parties and candidates free to conduct their election campaigns the way they want to, the way they wish to, that they thought to, how they are going to propagate and profess their electoral campaigning policies. There should be no compulsion and there should be no pressurize on them from any corner of the sides. But still, it's sometimes necessary to regulate campaigns to ensure that every political party and candidates gets a free and a fair choice and a time to compete. According to our election law, no party or candidate can. There are certain compulsions for the parties as well. They cannot bribe or they cannot threaten the voters. They can appeal to them in the name of the caste. They cannot appeal to them in the name of the caste or the religion. They cannot use government resource for election campaigning. So they can spend only not more than 25 lakh rupees in the constituency for the Lok Sabha and 10 lakh rupees for this Lok Sabha constituency, 10 lakh. So these are certain conditions that they cannot bribe voters. They can persuade them by their genuine promises, by their different slogans, but they cannot provide them the sort of bribe, or they can't threaten them, life threatens. If you are not casting vote for in my favor, I am going to do this and that thing for you people. So dear students, so before the election, if they do so, their election can be rejected, and the court even after they have been declared elected. So there are certain chances that if anyone is found guilty for such case, their electoral form, the election form, can be absolutely rejected. In addition to these laws, all the political parties in our country have agreed to a model code of conduct for election campaigning. So before this election starts now, before election campaigning starts, the model code of conduct is announced by the government, and under this model code of conduct, so this model, what is this model code of conduct? So it is this thing that there are certain compulsions now, certain question marks that they can't use any place of worship for election propaganda. The candidates cannot use the government vehicles, artifacts, aircraft, and options for the elections. and they can't use the public money for the funding, and etc. They can lay the milestone, foundation stone for anything that they are going to construct. So this model code of conduct stops them for all these things. So this was all about election campaigning today, that how this election campaigning is a compulsory process, and how the different slogans are given by the different political parties to persuade the voters time and again after framing their election manifesto, and later on after this how the restrictions are there on them, that they can't do this and that thing, but they can put blots on the successful growth of the democracy. So this was all about today. Let's meet once again with a new video lecture. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz.